Hello, good evening. Welcome to this edition of the show. And why am I in black? I'm black because I'm mourning Sir John for the second or third time. We have something to say about Sir John tonight. I know people have been eager to watch and wait. We'll get on the touch screen and present our analysis of the matter. But I have a special guest who is also a co-host tonight, Annie Ampo, for whom you know is here. Good evening, Annie.
Good evening, Paul.
So what do you have for us on Good Evening Ghana tonight? We have Sir John's story, and we have a sports story. What do you have?
Yes, I have it together with you. I was thinking, well, you know, when people die, you actually read biographies of them just to give an idea of who they are. But tonight we'll be giving maybe an extensive idea of who Sir John really is, so people should prepare for that. And then I also have, you know, the NPP's regional elections coming up.
Yeah.
So I have put together two guests within the Greater Accra region, one going for the women's organizer and then the other for the general secretary position. They will join us on the platform. We'll also give, you know, people a fair idea. If you're living somewhere and you were affected by the floods, or even if you were not affected by the floods, you have an idea of how almost the whole part of Accra, because we've spoken with NADMO and the picture doesn't look good. So people should prepare for some footages we'll be bringing. We'll also try to speak with NADMO and see what they have for us, if there's any hope going forward.
So that's a big story for Good Evening Ghana. After the break, we'll be on a touch screen with the Sir John story, and then Annie Ampofo will take the rest. This time for break. After the break, Good Evening Ghana is live.
You're welcome back. So before we give you the screen touch analysis on Sir John and the issues surrounding the Achimota Forest, let's just go into social media and find out how our viewers responded to the flyer before we give you the analysis. Michael, you're welcome. Good evening to you. All right, so what can you tell us? What's going on?
Right, so a lot is going. People are saying different sorts of things, and I'll just start by saying Boachi Sabo says, Paul, in fact, Sir John's legacy lives on. The man was a self-achieved before he became the General Secretary of the NPP, having stayed in the UK and worked at the Borough of Croydon for years. In fact, my uncle invited me to the UK in 1999, way back, with huge bank account as a warranty, worked at GNPC, an outstanding barrister of good repute. I know that he invested his money when he felt was good during his latter days, also whilst in office as a CEO, not necessarily by foul means, but by supporting his government, knowing his disappointment and disaffection in the affairs of government, in the NDCs and the way he attacked them. In any case, was he the president, just an appointee, and was never involved in any obvious corruption or looting allegations? Please, I'm a nephew and know how he was raised as a devoted Adventist from Sakara Wunu. He benefited from the family cocoa farms and later owned his farms, gold, houses, businesses, etc. Please let his innocent soul rest in peace in our serene village in Sakara Wunu, his beloved village. My uncle, my hero, was a gem. Now, Martin Awuza says, It's unfortunate as a country we have the majority of tyranny that whatever happens, whether true or false, nobody is ready to give heed to the facts of the case. This man, by all standards, he's the most analytical journalist who doesn't take anything the face value, but does in-depth analysis before commenting on issues. He's not like other journalists who always hide camera and tape recorders in their pockets. I think he's referring to our host, Paul. Now, Honorable Asiedu Prince says the day Asiedu Nketia will pass, and unfortunately his will leak.
Michael, just hold on a bit. Kofi, what are you communicating to me?
Okay, so all over the weekend and since Monday when the Sir John story broke, I've seen on social media some of our viewers wanting to find out how we're going to deal with this matter. And then we put a photograph on our social media page this morning asking whether people are ready for Good Evening Ghana. The messages, as usual, were hilarious, but these two were quite interesting. Now, this guy has Sir John's photograph over there, pretending to be Sir John, and he says, Paul, try and defend me, oh. Give them touchscreen tonight. If I'm well impressed, I owe you quarter plot. My wafasi will give it to you. I want to rest in peace. That's what social media has become. It's funny, but it's not funny. That's what somebody says. Sir John is going to give me quarter plot, and his nephew. What's the guy's name again? The famous Charles Owusu. Another person says he's going to watch us. Absolutely necessary. Okay, so where do we take this from? When I saw the story, and I'll be honest with you, when I first saw the story, I said, wow, this is interesting. Now, my first port of call was the Ministry of Lands. So I quickly went to the Ministry of Lands people, and I said that the first thing that needs to be done, that you guys at Lands must confirm whether indeed a lease has occurred either from the Forestry Commission to Sir John himself, as is being alleged, either to the Forestry Commission, to Owu family, to Sir John. What has happened? Let's get a documentation to confirm what is in the will that is going around. That was my first point of call. And then they told me that, well, many media houses have also come to them and asked them the same thing. So they're working on it. So yesterday we called them again and they were still working on it. And so I was delighted when they issued the statement. Now, before we go to the Sir John will and all the things that we have to say, when I saw the statement from the Ministry of Lands, and that's where I'm starting from tonight, before we come to the broader conversation about the will, corruption, state capture, what is it, and the politics of it as well. So this is the statement that was issued on 24th May tonight by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Achimota Forest / Kojo Owusu Afriye's alleged last will and testament. Okay, so it goes as follows. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources refers to its press statement dated 22nd May 2022, in which the ministry committed to inquire into the allegations relating to the acquisition of parcels of land at the Achimota Forest and the Sakumono Ramsar site by the late former Chief Executive CEO of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Owusu Afriye, Sir John. Preliminary inquiries reveal that the alleged will in question is a subject of litigation, contestation in the courts. Further checks at the lands and the Forestry Commissions, the repositories of the records of the lands in question, show no record of ownership of lands at the Achimota Forest or the Sakumono Ramsar site by the late Kojo Owusu Afriye. The statement continues. That said, given the totality of the circumstances of the said allegations, as Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, have directed the Lands and Forestry Commissions to deem any ownership of lands, both in the Achimota Forest and the Sakumono Ramsar site, by the late Kojo Owusu Afriye as void and are to take the appropriate actions accordingly. And that's from the Minister for Lands. It continues and says, for the avoidance of doubt, the bequeathing of the aforesaid lands, if established, will not pass any interest title to the named beneficiaries in the alleged will. These lands, the subject matter of the alleged will, shall remain public lands, whether or not it falls within the degazetted lands pursuant to EI 144, Ministry of lands and natural resources. So that was my starting point, that, well, we need the government authority, given all the circumstances and the conversation about Achimota Forest recently, we need the government authority to come and tell us that this is what has happened. And if it has actually happened, we need them to have the confidence to say that they will strike out those portions of the will. Those were my fundamental interest in the matter when I looked at it. But then beyond that, we look at the properties, the acquisitions of Sir John, and we can go through some of them. And they are here. House on plot number, this located in Obojo, East Legon, acquired in 2018, they say. Oyarifa, acquired in September 2017. Oyarifa and Obojo, East Legon, by the way. Plot number so, Adjingano, they said it was in 2019. Some of them they don't say. 6-bedroom house located at Pantambe Obojo, near East Legon. They don't say when he acquires it. Then there's a 4-bedroom house at East Legon, Mempasem. They don't say when, probably before 2017, I suspect. And then there's a 3-bedroom plot on Mempasem, East Legon. They don't say when it was acquired. 3-bedroom house also in Mempasem. John seems to like Mempasem. Where is Mempasem really? Somebody should to Mempasem, where East Legon, that behind there somewhere. Oh, the university side. Sir John seems to like Mempasem. Okay. 4-bedroom house on the plot number East Legon, acquired in October 2018. They write that one. And then a 4-bedroom house in Sakura Wono, his hometown. They don't say when he's acquired it. I'm sure way much earlier. It's a 4-story building located in East Legon with 10 apartments, each apartment consisting 3 bedrooms, and 5-bedroom apartments, each consisting 2 bedrooms. They don't say when he gets it. 2 plots of land located at Ahima Kokobin in the Ashanti region. They don't say when he acquires it. 2 plots of land, registration number located in Oyarifa. Acres of land in Achimota Forest. Those are the issues. The one in Achimota Forest, and then another acres of land in Achimota Forest held in the name of FASO Limited, and then unspecified piece of land, again Achimota Forest, and the DML connection, and all of those things, all of the 57 different items, including bank accounts and investments, all of that. I've seen that. If you exclude Achimota Forest and the other one, this is a nearly 70-year-old man, isn't he? Sir John was a nearly 70-year-old man. What did he do in his lifetime up to 2017? If we look at what he did in his lifetime up to 2017, the allegations of corruption has to be looked at again, so that the man cannot acquire property, the one he acquired in his hometown in Kumasi and all of that. I think that's conversation number one. Because there are people, politicians in the same state as Sir John, who walked away from school and started political jobs, like minister, deputy minister, straight from university. They have acquired significant property in Accra. Should we go through all of that? I'm not interested in that. We think, the people like us, we think that the whole national conversation is about amending the constitution. Forgive us for thinking we are myopic, but we believe that once the superstructure is set out, everything will follow. So we don't do the micro nick and pick, how many properties has he got. If you take this car from this one will come and take it. You take this house from this one will come and take it, until you change the superstructure. So that's what we've been canvassing. Let's look at the constitution and amend the constitution. Why does the president have excessive powers? Why must he appoint this, appoint that? Can we have another look at it? We think if that is done, everything will follow through, but other people think differently, so we are not concerned about that. But if we were to be concerned about the micro details and go into this matter, you will see that you think the Sir John matter is worse. No, there are more brutal ones of people who are 27, come to begin with, they are staying at Airport Hills, buying property for millions of dollars, never worked before, never ever worked before. They are there. So, but I'm not interested. I leave that for those who want to do the little pieces. If you look at Sir John's life, and you look at how he ended up, why is it surprising that he has the kinds of things he has? Barring the ones he took from Achimota Forest, which will be a clear case of conflict of interest, where he's forestry commission, and then it is a forestry commission matter, and then he takes it. But even the ones he acquired while he was a public officer, when J. Kufuor was leaving government, he was asked questions about how he feels the government should continue it. When they were doing the constitutional amendment, they went to see him. He talked about a few things. The other thing, one of the most important things he said is that we have to begin a serious conversation about how are we going to reward, assess, and categorize public office holders whose signature becomes important. And we've had this conversation several times. So you have a minister of petroleum, minister of energy, his salary is 10,000, but he's approving $200 million projects. What kind of a person should you take to that position so that we know that this minister of energy has come through this level, so we know that he will go behave himself? Or we say that if you meet a certain budget like they did in Singapore under Lee Kuan Yew, you're a minister of energy, your budget is 5 million. If you can turn the budget to 15 million as in revenue for the ministry, you get a certain percentage of the money. Lee Kuan Yew did that. So he was able to bring a lot of clever Singaporeans from all over the world back to work in Singapore. If you are Minister of Finance and you come and the borrowing rate is this, and the debt to GDP ratio is this, if by the time you are leaving as Minister of Finance, you have brought the debt to GDP ratio so low and you have saved the country X amount of money, we will give you $7 million. Should we begin to have a conversation like that, as J. Ekufuor was recommending? Or should we continue and pretend that the Minister of Finance, when he has his discretion and in exercise of his discretion, he favors a company, the company can come back to him and say thank you? Do we know that? And if the company comes and says thank you in the form of $3 million, is it good? Is it bad? Is it wrong? Will they continue? Will it stop? Who is going to stop it? Because as ministers and CEOs, they exercise a discretion. That discretion can favor somebody. It can favor me. It can favor you. It can favor your uncle. Uncle becomes an endangered species of word. It's an endangered species as a word, uncle. Okay. They can favor your uncle, your wafa. It can favor your somebody. That person who is favored, who goes to the tender, and at the end of the tender, the ministry decides that both companies are qualified. But the minister says, I like this person, or I know him, or he's a party person, and then he exercises his discretion legitimately in favor of that person. The person comes back to give to the minister X amount of money because the contract was X amount. What's the conversation about that? I think that's the real conversation. And from my side, we think that the solution to the conversation is to have a thinking through process. As a developing country, you can go the Lee Kuan Yew way, where ministers know that at the end of the year they are going to earn $500,000 because they've been able to achieve the threshold set for them by a certain committee. And those who are not able to achieve the threshold, they will also have some demerits. They get sacked and this and that and that. We need to have a serious conversation, ladies and gentlemen, about the future of our country. And it has to do with the document called the Constitution. So Sir John becomes Forestry Commission boss. Definitely, he's going to exercise his discretion for one person or the other person. For somebody to be able to do rosewood in this community, but you cannot do wawa in this community. All of that legitimately is given to him as the CEO to exercise his discretion. If in doing so, in exercising his discretion, those beneficiaries say, come and take a house at Obojo, and he takes the house at Obojo in 2017, another person that he's exercised discretion in favor, some of the discretion he exercises is going to benefit the Forestry Commission, but it is his signature that made the determination. These are the realities of the situation. Because his signature determines the situation, he gets something back. The person comes and says, I'll give you 2 houses in somewhere. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it corruption? Is it state capture? Will it stop? Who is going to stop it? That's the conversation we need to have. And that's what I see about the Sir John thing. Excluding Achimota Forest and the Ramsar site, everything else in there, we can have a conversation about it. You can call it corruption, but look at it within the context of the reality of the things that happen in ministerial offices every day. That's been happening all the time. And I told you about some people who came from school. You may find them in both parties who are able to buy $1 million property. He's never worked before. They've been in politics for 9 years. They've never worked before. They are there. I'm not interested in whether it's bad or good. I think that if we need to move forward as a country, we have a conversation and fix the superstructure. So who is Sir John? Who is he? Let's come to that. Okay, so he's here. Kojo Osuefriye Sir John had humble beginnings. He was born into a devout SDA family in Sakura, Wono in 1952. His father died in 1962. So when his father died, he was 10 years old. And his mother died 4 years later in 1966. His uncle, there you go. Maybe you see where this wafa thing is coming from. In the life of the man himself, it appeared that his uncle had a significant role in his life. His mother died when he was 10. His father died when he was 10. His mother died 4 years later. He was 14. Then it says his uncle, a successful industrialist and cocoa farmer in his day, Kweku Yao. as affectionately called, saw a bright spark in the young Kojo Usuefrie and was a significant funding source for his primary and early secondary education. Kweku Yao passed away in 1972 and Sir John was effectively left to fend for himself. It goes on. Academically, Sir John excelled in the arts, specifically literature, history, philosophy, Latin, and economics. He attended Bekwai SDA, SHS, on scholarship, where his contemporaries included Dr. KK Sapon, now formerly of GMPC, is going to be a chief soon. Sir John read economics at Bekwai SDA and once again excelled. In the intervening years between Bekwai SDA and sixth form at Konongo Dumase, Sir John weaved kente to make ends meet and taught part-time at Konongo Dumase sixth form before gaining admission to the University of Ghana, where he pursued economics and law, then later the bar at Makola. Okay, let's move on. Sir John was called to the Ghana by 1981. Sir John's political activism preceded Legon but intensified during the Achampon years. He led student movements at the university, and his love for politics and galvanizing people was a God-given gift, as his contemporaries fondly recall. He became the SRC president for John Mensah Saba Hall. In the early 1980s, Sir John practiced as a young barrister in Kejetia. So you remember the Kejetia properties and all the Kejetia. Now I'm going back to show that this man has done a lot of work in his life. And so he's able to acquire property, except those that he acquires by his own hand, taken from state and given to himself. And which the Ministry of Lands is assuring us that as far as they are concerned, nothing of the sort has happened. But if it happens, they have enough power to stop it. Okay, let's move on. Sir John practiced as a barrister in Kejetia. He departed for the United Kingdom, London, specifically in 1985, to pursue the English bar and to broaden his professional practice. During his years in the United Kingdom, he was a cornerstone member of the Dankwa Fan Club and was a founding member of the NPP UK. He worked as a housing officer and legal consultant in several London boroughs, including Slough, Croydon, Redbridge, and Bournemouth. His contemporaries included Aprechum Sapon and Hayford Atakrufi, who are still big law firms in the United Kingdom. Sir John, it says, had a private immigration practice that gave hundreds of Ghanaians the rights to abode and citizenship in the United Kingdom. So he became a very popular barrister in London in the days when immigration was a big story in the 1990s. At the collapse of the Berlin Wall, Europe was reuniting. So at that time, immigration was a big deal. And that's where the story says, in those days, in London, Sir John was a toast of the Ghanaians doing immigration cases for them. He set up an immigration law firm in London. Those were the very lucrative jobs you could get in London as a young man working as a barrister in those days, because the big cases go to the white lawyers, the British lawyers. But for a Ghanaian, Nigerian, Ugandan, you set up an immigration practice that's successful, you're getting people's passports and visa for them, they like you, and they used to charge them a lot of money for it. Okay, so this is what Sir John used to do in the United Kingdom. Let's move on. He also championed human rights and fought for Ghanaians and Africans in immigration detention centers across the United Kingdom. In 2002, at the invitation of His Excellency J.A. Kufuor, Sir John returned to Ghana to take a post as a Deputy Director, Legal and Administration at the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. I bet many people didn't know that. So Sir John in 2002 was appointed by President Kufuor to be the Director Legal at the GMPC. During his almost 3-year stint at GMPC, he rose to become the Director of Legal and worked closely with the late M.O. Boateng. Sir John contested the Old Tafo primaries in 2004 against the then Deputy Minister of Finance, Anthony Akotose, losing marginally by less than 10 votes to Akotose. Sir John established a private legal practice under the trading name Sir John Law Firm in Edum, Kumasi in the intervening period. He championed human rights issues, particularly his stellar work on our prisons reform. He was known as the NPP lawyer and effectively handled most cases pro bono. Alongside his professional legal practice, he acted as a consultant for many prominent companies in Ghana as an external corporate affairs resource. Sir John tried his hand at many businesses, including a transport and logistics company he established in Kumasi in 2005. In 2010, he ran for and was duly elected as the NPP's General Secretary until his mandate was not renewed in 2014 in a highly acrimonious election that set the tone for election 2016. Sir John went back into consultancy 2014, but was equally committed to the New Patriotic Party. In March 2017, President Akufo-Addo appointed Sir John as the CEO of the Forestry Commission. He passed away on Republic Day, 1st July 2020. So that's the story of the man. That's the story of the man. This is the Sir John story. So with a story like that, he will have some acquisitions. With a story like that, he will have some possessions. And then he became a public official in 2017. And the part of the conversation I want us to drive, not today, we might not have time for that, but we need to run this conversation based on what President Kufuor said and based on our own admonitions at constitutional reforms. What do we do with the CEO of Forestry Commission? First of all, should we state in the law a qualification that limits it to delimit the people who are qualified to become anything that president is appointing, including Forestry Commission? Because as at this stage, there's not much. It's just ordinarily qualified to be a member of parliament. That's all. It doesn't say anything about background. There are good things in that one, but what should we do with it? That's a conversation we should have. And if somebody becomes a Forestry Commission boss, how much should we pay him? How much gifts can he take? How much gifts can he not take? What should we say about it? I think that's a conversation we should have. There are those who believe that this Sir John thing creates a political advantage for them, and it makes their political party look better than the NPP, which is Sir John's party, and they're excited about that, and they think that it's going to have some effect on some elections, something like that. No, fair enough. That's political. It's fine. But beyond that, there are those who are disappointed in the NPP, and they think this is going to affect fortunes and all that. All of that is fine. Beyond that, as young people who want to have a serious nation by the time we are done, should we not have this conversation within the context of the constitutional amendment? That's the only way. We can expose these things. You see, that's the point I make all the time. These exposures doesn't take our country anywhere. It makes some newspaper popular and it makes some individual popular and he exposes it. But he's collapsing the superstructure. We are not interested in the micro expositions. Let us have a conversation about the superstructure. Which clauses should we amend in the Constitution to give us a society that is real, honest and modern? Because right now we are dishonest. That's what President Kufuor meant about the salaries of public officials. It's total dishonesty. And we sit down and you're telling, as I said, the Minister of Health is going to sign out contracts using his discretion. In many of the instances, at least 30% of his discretion, almost always. He is going to do favors to people. The people are going to come back to him. They're going to give him money. They're going to give him property and all of that. That's what is happening. That's the reality. Let's not be hypocrites to that. Now, if we are not hypocrites to that, then if Sir John in 2018 acquires a house in Ogbojo, Pillar 2 or Mimpasem, having exercised his discretion for somebody, is that corruption? I'm not saying it is or that it is not. I'm asking, is it corruption? Let's have a conversation about that. That's the moral of the Sir John story. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Lands sort of issued a statement that ran us through most of the things that we've been talking about. Let's have a look at it quickly. They're going to put it there. Let's have a look at it very quickly, and then we can end this conversation because, okay, so that's the Ministry of Lands statement. So it goes through all the way about the process of acquiring the Achimota forest. And then in clause 7, it says, it was recommended following these consultations that due to the choked nature of the current Accra Central Business District and the reconstruction of the Tetekwashi Harlem motorway, a portion of the land forming the part of the 1927 acquisition of Achimota Forest should be redeveloped as a complementary business district to facilitate the decongestion of the Accra Central Business District. An appropriate benefit determined and accordingly extended to the Owu family, while at the same time preserving the Achimota Forest. So that's where the sort of conversation begins. We're going back to Achimota Forest now. A statement said that the place was going to be looked at as a business center, like a central business district from Accra. You know that in parts of, in London, for instance, you have Regent Street, Mayfair, you have other places in America, New York, you have different places all within the city. So they were looking about another sort of business district like Accra, which is really a good idea, isn't it? And then if you have trains, they can do a train station right where they've done the bus terminal. So that kind of works, isn't it? Okay, but that's where the story sort of starts. Then it continues to say, pursuant to this recommendation, government acting by the Minister for Lands, Forestry and Honorable Cecilia Dapa did something. They did something until the 2018 2008, the committee noted that although the land had been granted to the family exceeding the original 90 acres agreed in 2008, it was a fair compromise because they agreed on 90 acres. Minister Yunus Afuseni exceeded it. They agreed on 90 acres for the old family. Minister Yunus Afuseni exceeded, but the committee said it was okay, so they moved on. And then there's 2013. On 20th March 2013, the family again petitioned the then President John Dramani Mahama for the release of portions of land, desirous of converting the forest reserve into an eco park, a concept which was conceived sometime in 2011. The then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yunus Afuseni, constituted a strategic development committee chaired by the then Deputy Minister for Lands, Barbara Sewa Asamoah, to develop a strategy and roadmap for this one. Okay, the committee, as part of its work, considered a few things, etc., etc. Let's run through it very quickly. And then the Afaridate Committee recommended the release of an acreage of 118 on the 30th of September 2013. The Forestry Commission executed 3 leases in favor of the Owu family, totaling 140.411 acres. That's 148. That's what was released under President Mahama in 2013. These are the leases that were granted, and it's in a statement. And then President Akufo-Addo also did something. The said deed, by the said deed of 2014 deed of variation, the Forestry Commission granted the Owu family another 50.0 acres, bringing the total acreage that was given under President Mahama to 198. Okay, so then President Akufo-Addo comes and declassifies it so that they can own and have their own land. By the negotiation between the Forestry Commission and the Owu family culminated in the deed of variation executed in 2020, varying the schedules to the 2013 leases. By this deed of variation, the total area of land released to the Owu family was 312 acres. This is the negotiation that Sir John may have participated in, the negotiation with the Forestry Commission leading up to 2020. So maybe, so they said there was a negotiation. So maybe the negotiation was in 2020 with the Forestry Commission. In the negotiation, the Owu family may have promised him something because they gave to the Owu family and they gave it back to their, they may have given it back to him. And that's why it's registered in the name of DML or some company like that. Is that corruption? Is that sin? Is that evil? This is pure conjecture at this stage. I don't know. I'm just saying that given the dates of the occurrences of these things, John definitely participated in that negotiation. Could it be that he was promised something within the context of the negotiation? I think if he was, is it sin? Is it wrong? Is it evil? Is it? Yeah, let's deal with it. Okay. On the 17th of December 2020, the family wrote to the Forestry Commission requesting for expedited action on the de-gazetting of the portions of the forest. And so, President Akufo-Addo executed those documents in 2022. And there was the declassification. But of course, in the EI 154, President Akufo-Addo insisted that the rest of the Achimota forest, what is the original forest, apart from the peripheral land, the rest of it shall remain a forest. And we understand that on the 10th of June, the Minister of Lands is going to lead some important people from the minority side in Parliament and the majority side to plant trees there. So that's our take on Sir John. Everyone was waiting for it. That's our take on Sir John. May he rest in perfect peace. May we use this opportunity to see how we move our country forward. Those who think it's political advantage, good luck. Those who think it's political disadvantage, better luck next time. That's our story. That's our song.
Right, so that's our editorial here on Good Evening Ghana this evening. It's been the topmost controversial issue now, and it's still running because the ministry continues to release its press statement on updates and what is going on as far as that issue is concerned. And we'll follow through and bring you updates as and when we get some more communique. Paul, thank you for that. Let's now cross over to social media. Let's see how they're responding to it. Michael is with me.
Yeah, so Honorable Asiri Prince was saying the day Asiedu Nkete will pass, and unfortunately his will leaks, I swear. But in a nutshell, the man deserves the said properties, unless you feel otherwise. 36 years of practicing active law both in Ghana and the UK, and 5 years as Director General of Forestry, plus his political career, ABA National General Secretary of NPP. The man can't do active business unless he turns as either a slave queen in East Legon investor or properties buying. Now, Opportunity says, I hope you emphatically mention the fact that a lawyer's legal document, being a will, is valid and that it's not fake, as people of this ruling party try to paint to the general public. Now, this is from Umar Sharif, and he shares a meme of Kwame Nkrumah, the 2CD notes, with his face reacting to the reading of the late Sir John's will. And there is a message here from Ansel Chogbe, and he quotes Sadiq Adams saying, for now, the green in the flag, forest lands and vegetation is sold out. The yellow, gold and mineral resources, sold long, long ago. The black stars, Yamutu, left with the red, bleeding, and the stick. Now, this is from Icon, and he says, we don't need any analysis. We have also gone to school and therefore understand the English about the stories in the news about Sir John's will. We don't need any analysis or explanations from you. Now, John Indiku says, Paul exclusively interviewed the PPA boss, Mr. Boateng, when this issue came up. Now, Paul is going to do a touchscreen analysis on Sir John. Today, I will watch just to see something.
So I think they got all that they wanted, and that was the opinion of the editorial this evening put out there. Now let's cross over to now focus on the NPP that is preparing for a crucial match this weekend, and that has to do with the party going into elections, and we are on the regional level now because they've been running the primaries from the local governance system and it's rising, it's gotten to the regional level. And I have some guests with me in the studio today. They're going to tell us they are not new faces in the offices they want to occupy, but they're obviously faces known within the party. The first person I'm interacting with this morning has to do with Emmanuel Clottey. He's with me already in the studio. Welcome. Good evening to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. I know you've been...
It's my pleasure.
Yes. It's been a lot of work actually trying to get him into the studio. He's ready, we're not ready, we're ready, he's not ready, and all that. But I think we have finally gotten you. So thank you for coming again. How's the campaign going?
It's going well.
Right. So let me take also a screen analysis, after Paul, and see what I can actually capture about Emmanuel. Okay, we'll give you just a brief about what the gentleman we're talking to about is, and it's NPP headquarters 2015-2016. That's where you're working, no?
From
okay,
2012,
great.
actually.
Yes, it's 2012.
2012 to 2016.
2012 to 2016. So there was a typographical mistake, pardon us. So it's supposed to be 2012 to 2016.
Yeah.
Now, it starts to say that Regional Electoral and Research Officer, NPP Greater Accra, 2012 to 2016, I've corrected in my mind. Coordination of constituency electoral and research officers within the region, collation and management of all electoral data, formulation of D plan for the regional campaign. Okay, let's move on to the next. Can I move or you move for me? Can I? Okay, I can. So the political profile says that from is this also 2015? 2012?
Yeah. Yes, from
2012. Okay, so I think it's just a general mistake. So data simulation of electoral results outcomes. He also worked on generation of our flagship presidential and parliamentary targeting for all constituencies in Accra. Now, Mr. Clottey also was a research assistant, National Elections Directorate assistant to the Director of Research and Elections, election data analyst, coordination of all regional electoral research officers. He also worked as a coordination of all regional electoral affairs teams. That's election 2016. Now, coordination of distribution of election materials nationwide. That's ballots, seals, tally cards, etc. Election 2016. Those were very sensitive work you were actually doing. Now, coordination of the NPP team in the monitoring of the presidential and parliamentary ballot printing and the nationwide distribution of same 2016 elections. Preparation of budgets and working documents of electoral hours. Supervision of Clottey constituency 2015 parliamentary primary. Is this date correct?
Yes.
Okay.
2016, yeah.
Parliamentary primary at NPP headquarters and 2016 Abekuma West constituency parliamentary primary. Collation and management of diverse electoral data from all regions. Limited registration continues. Registration, NHIS deleted, re-registration, special voting, etc. Key role preparation of delegates album for 2014 MPP National Delegates Conference in Tamale. Key role in preparation of electoral register for the 2015 presidential primary 2012 elections results collation system. Supervised charging and installation of customized collation application on about 27,000 mobile phones for nationwide election results collation in 2012 election. Supervised coding and assigning of phones to each of the 26,002 polling stations. He also conducted some field training on the result collation application in some constituencies in the Ashanti region. Volunteer as MPP National Collation Center election 2012. That's a lot. 2012-2013 presidential election petitioners technical team. He was part. Supervisor, project supervision and human resource management. Data analyst, KPMG report query and analysis. EC data query and analysis. And then we also have data control and management of EC, election declaration documents, and preparation of results analysis and evidence for Greater Accra parliamentary petitions. That is from 2012 to 2017. Is that all I have? Okay, that's all I can capture. That's a lot you have done for the party. Very sensitive work you have done.
Yes.
Not so? Why did they put you in such sensitive,
Well, electoral affairs demands a lot of experience. So when you build it over the years and you're able to deliver on your job well, then you're in the best position to keep handling some of these sensitive materials. And by the grace of God, I had the opportunity to learn at the feet of the experienced seniors ahead of us. I remember one of my best times in electoral affairs was working under our then National Director of Elections, Martin Ejime Sakosa, and currently Evans Nimaku. And they've been solid on their job so far.
Both very experienced at what they do.
Yeah.
Oh, you must be lucky. I mean, to be working with this, you're lucky. That's nice. Anyway, so we just done analysis on Sir John as a general secretary of the party, or former, or the late. I don't know how I can catch
former general secretary, you can say.
Late general secretary for the party. General secretaries are, you are standing for regional.
Yes.
But then it means that you become more or less the CEO of the region as a general secretary.
Okay, you can attempt to say
yes,
so.
Yes, I can attempt to say so. I've said so. So it's very sensitive. And it's like everything about the party revolves around you, even though you might have the chairman. The general secretary, more or less, is the machine of the party. I know you have done a lot of things, but what is it that is so unique that you think that, well, I think that we need to change? And sometimes it gets a little personal, and people think that it's a personal, war.
Yeah.
When it's really not a personal war. I just feel like I can do it better. So what is it that you think can do it better than the current office somebody's holding?
Okay, so in 2016, I happened to be running a few national electoral operations. At the same time, I was the Regional Research and Elections Officer for Greater Accra. And I saw how the regional secretary worked. It was then Honorable Mohammed Ajay-Sua, who later became the mayor of Accra. I mean, he was proficient on his job, prolific. We did a lot of strategy work together, and I understood what it took to be a regional secretary. I revered the effective collaboration he had between himself and the regional chairman, which normally makes things a bit more effective. And I saw the ahead of time preparations that we did before the elections time. A lot of strategy work, a lot of training, and so on. I might not be able to mention all the details, but everything that a head of operations for the region is supposed to get right to be able to put the regional party in winning ways. I believe by the leadership of the regional secretary and with the teamwork that we had, we were able to achieve that with a lot of training from some of the big guys who had a good understanding of how electoral operations work and how to be able to win elections in the region. I wish I could say I could say same for the 2020 elections. That kind of collaboration that you should be having between a regional secretary and a regional chairman to be able to make things move. You know, the regional secretary at the regional level is like the belt of the region. He is this, almost to say, like the sole spearheader of the implementation of decisions by the regional executive committee. He's also the head of operations of the region, and the whole operations contiguous formation includes the research and elections at the regional level, communications, and also the whole organizational team. And our organizational structure is the youth organizer, the women organizer, the national coordinator, all working under the regional organizer. So all these facets of the operations are working under the regional secretary. So it takes a lot of tact, a lot of cool head, a lot of strategy, a lot of intelligence and understanding of electoral operations to be able to get some of these things done. And I believe I saw it done better prior to the 2016 elections than what I saw in 2020.
So the energy is gone down, do you think?
I think it's like day and night.
Communication.
I think it's like day and night.
It's like day and night?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, for want of a better expression. And I mean, any delegate you speak with who was there prior to 2016 and saw what we were able to achieve, they will attest to this fact. And to me, integral amongst them is that effective coordination you should have between a regional secretary and a regional chairman. If the one who's like the belt of the region doesn't have that effective coordination and collaboration with the regional chairman, so to say, you can't have things as perfect as you'd want it to be. And it is one, like I keep stressing, is one integral point that I saw work well prior to the 2016 elections. And it makes me revere the former regional secretary for that. And I believe much of that effort we were able to put in there and the ahead of time planning and the intricate strategy work that we were able to do, which was spearheaded then by the regional secretary who was the head of operations. I wish I could have seen same in the 2020 elections. Probably I wouldn't have been sitting here hoping to be the next regional secretary. But I see there's a deficit, and we can't go into the 2024 elections with such a deficit. Greater Accra, I mean, is revered in the electoral hemisphere in this country because the voter population of Greater Accra is more than about 8 regions combined up north. So you joke with Greater Accra, you're not going to come out well in the general elections. So we are not leaving it to chance. So, I mean, I also look at myself, well, I admit what we've been able to do in the past, and as you have testified. Going into the 2024 elections should take a lot of cool-headedness, a lot of strategy work, a lot of know-how for electoral operations, and how to make sure the regional operations is really functioning and everybody is actually working according to strategy.
You know, different from other regions, Greater Accra region today is doing a lot of work considering what the minister has taken upon himself to do. So that even puts a lot of pressure on the party executive to support him succeed, because we know how many attempts previous managers of Greater Accra have tried, and we're back to square one. And this time we want to believe that something can happen. So when you say that the General Secretary's work today is like a day and night, I'm wondering is he sleeping when the minister is working?
The regional secretary.
Yeah, I mean the regional secretary. I don't know why I keep saying the General Secretary. Yeah. I mean, what's he doing? Is he relaxing when there is so much work to be done, especially when your party is in government?
You see, the advantage I seem to have above most of my contenders, I should say, is the experience of 2016 and what happened, the preparations we went through, and what led us to be able to make some of the strides we were able to achieve in 2016. And I was there and part of it in 2020. Interestingly, I mean, of course, I share in the victory of 2016 and also share in the seeming vanquish in 2020. And comparing the two makes me want to make sure we get 2024 right. You commended the regional chairman, I mean the regional minister. Well, he's doing a great job. But the kind of support that he gives to the regional party, so to say, from his good performance as the regional minister, I believe the regional party should also be potent enough to take the electoral matters that serious, so that it gives us a competitive edge going into the 2024 elections. I intend for us to do some things fast ahead of time, to do our strategy in good time, to be able to render a lot of training, especially to the grassroots of the party, engage them in a lot of constituency profiling, and understand how we can be able to put ourselves in winning ways. It takes a lot of brain work.
That you're losing touch with grassroots
as a party?
Yes.
I believe it can get better.
I have had a few interactions with some of the new ones, new hopefuls that are coming up. And I think one message that is cutting across is we need to revive grassroots.
By God's grace, going around all the constituencies I've visited so far, I have shared my clear intention as to the antidote to be able to re-energize the base. And most of the delegates have bought into it. At least they've seen that, well, this is not rocket science, it can be done. And the plan I've shared with them. It's unfortunate I'm unable to share it on open media because it's our internal strategy.
Yeah.
But in meeting the delegates, they've seen that, wow, if we're able to get this done, we are literally repositioning ourselves for winning ways. And I believe that's the best antidote for the 2024 elections. To get
Are these delegates presenting strategies that is bringing grassroots on board?
I am presenting that.
You are presenting the
Yes.
strategy. And how's the delegates coming in?
Well, you share the ideas with them because they are the managers of the constituency. And they control the grassroots down the ground. We basically coordinate. So we should be able to put in policies and strategies that will give them the opportunity to energize the base. And some way, somehow, the regional operations team also supports the various constituencies to be able to implement that on the ground. And we will do it.
I'm not all about people praising themselves, but will you describe yourself as a well-organized person who knows his stuff, and more or less you call yourself a perfectionist, sort of? Are you? Why are you smiling?
Should I say I'm a perfectionist? I have a penchant for perfection.
Perfection.
So to say. But I don't know whether I'm a perfectionist yet. But if it must be done, it must be done right. And you must be able to almost predict that the steps you're taking is actually getting you to the right results you're looking for. When it comes to winning elections, you can't do wishful thinking. You have to get the things right to be able to predict that what I'm doing is actually going to give us the results that we intend to get. Because in election, a wise man says, election, a year second year. Is either who you first, and the Gapalands will say, you're either first or you are last. There's nothing like second.
It's better heard in Ghana than in English.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to make sure you get it right. You can't leave any stone unturned. And especially, in electoral operations, you realize you can make a slight mistake and that can cost you an election. So going into 2012, I've told the people, I'm bringing all this knowledge in electoral affairs to the fore. And I believe that every decision that we make or do not make should lead us to winning the region back for the new patriotic party in Greater Accra.
You remember the popular phrase, fear delegates?
Yes, I do. By the Venerable Sir John.
Good. What do you think of that? Because now you are in the shoes.
Yeah, fortunately for me.
You seem to have presented your strategy, delegates have bought into it, and then in the end they surprise you.
Okay, so fortunately for me, I don't fear the delegates.
Oh, you don't?
I believe they will speak and they will speak true. These are constituency officers who just went into elections and won their elections. Some have also been appointed. I believe they know exactly what the party needs going into the 2024 elections. And most will tell you, and they will share in our thoughts, that the current regional elections we are entering into is not just about putting forth some people to manage the region. It's about putting our best foot forward to be able to win back the region in the 2024 elections. So this is just like a preparation of the best foot forward to be able to win the 2024 elections for the Greater Accra region. I know a couple of our people have been talking about breaking the eight. Maybe I'm not so enthused about the bigger picture, breaking the eight, because I believe let me focus on my region. Because if Greater Accra focuses on Greater Accra, Central does same, Eastern does same, Northern does same,
That will
Western does
culminate
same,
into
it will culminate into the bigger picture.
national.
And I'm not losing sight of the fact that this is the battleground, Greater Accra region. With over 3.4 million voter population. It's certainly going to increase by the time we're done with our limited registration prior to the 2024 elections. So we are still the bank of winning an election.
Talking
in the
about
country.
population, let me drag you into the flat debate now. You cannot leave here without touching on that, because that's what we're currently faced with.
Sure.
And it's not all about winning the election and then, okay, I'm the general secretary and so what?
Regional secretary.
Regional secretary. I think I want you to be general secretary. I just think I want you to be general
I'll
secretary.
take it as a prophecy for the
Please,
future.
I take it. Just amen to that. But really, it's not about winning that I am the general secretary or the regional secretary and that's it. You are in charge of the region, so you're looking at challenges, pushing ideas to the party. It goes to the national level. It becomes the policy framework is implemented. Currently, what we're faced with generally just has to do with Accra plan. And everybody is telling their story. NADMO tells his story, Lance tells his story, the minister tells his story, planners are telling their stories, analysts, everybody's just telling their story. And we don't even know who's holding on to the plan. But this is what we're faced with. Today we had a conversation with NADMO and it didn't look good, so much. How will your reign translate into a national contribution that will also support the restructuring of Accra, or maybe Greater Accra in general?
This question is the kind of question I'll call Agama Lizard. Well, for we the party, we focus on winning elections. That's what as the party we do. And when we win the elections, the party forms government. And those in government focus on running the government in the interest of the state. While we, the politicians or the officers, still focus on how to win the next elections. So in that light, that's what I'll say.
No, but it's like the spirit and the canal. The spirit doesn't work separate from the canal. They work together. So when you go to church, you don't go and say, "Oh God, God, God," and come out and come and do something else.
Okay, but let me come back to the flood issues, which you're very interested about. The flood issue, I can pinpoint it from different angles. Planning is actually a big deal, just as you mentioned. The attitude of the citizenry is also a big deal. The architecture of our city space is also a big deal. And development control is also a big deal. Why am I saying that? People are dumping refuse into the drains. It's a factor. But besides that, you also have a lot of uncovered topsoil here in Accra. So anytime it rains, the silt from the topsoil runs into your open drains. And in many cases, you would also check the underground drains. And Accra, most of the huge drains in Accra started underground, colonial days. And most of them happen to have been heavily silted with the washed topsoil and the refuses dumped into the drains. So if you go desilting the Odo, you realize that you might be getting a lot of silt as in sand than refuse as in garbage poured into the drains. Secondly also, you find most of the storm water starting from the Ibri areas and coming down south. Unfortunately, Accra gets heavily populated by the day. So you have a lot of structures coming in the center part of Accra, or should you say the urban part of Accra. So if you are reducing your vegetation cover, get to the hills just on the outskirts of Accra, you realize that most of the greenery are changing to concretized areas. So if you don't have a lot of vegetation swallowing up or draining the running water down into the soil, then they are all about to run down into your open drains. And if your open drains are unable to handle the capacity of storm water passing, certainly you start getting floods. Now people are also building on waterways, and that's what development control is challenged with. People are building in waterways. That's why I honestly feel pity for NADMO, because as a matter of fact, NADMO does not have that much control over development control.
Yeah.
It is the district assemblies. So it is only when there's flood that you see NADMO. And don't begrudge them
and
when you see them, because they only bring relief.
Exactly. And this is why I come in to say that, you know, we try to separate the development authorities from the political authorities, but the development authorities are actually appointed by the political authorities. And sometimes when you follow up on some of these buildings in waterways, they get their power from these same people in charge.
Well, it could be a chicken and egg situation, and I believe the politicians cannot be solely blamed for this, because the politicians does not grant the permit. It's the technocrats who do.
Yeah, but when you give somebody work, you need to monitor and make sure that person is doing what he or she is supposed to be doing, because you are also responsible. You know, when the citizen is angry, you watch it. The citizen never mentions the CEO's name of whichever institution. The first person they go to is Emmanuel, because he's the person we voted for. You cannot run away from that. And I like the fact that you are giving us some technical breakdown of even flooding situation, because you're going to be faced with it when you become the secretary. Just get ready for that. But I have hopes that you will help the local government.
But we as citizens would have to also change our attitude. You can't continue with throwing garbage or refuse into the drains, or watching others who do that indiscriminately without correcting them. Then when the drains get silted or choked and your house gets flooded, you blame the politician. We must play our role so that the politicians can also be able to provide that sense of leadership. This particular challenge, I don't believe it easily gets solved by the politician, because it's a collective.
How is it not easily get solved by the politician?
Because it's
the politician has drafted a legal framework to guide our behaviors. So if you decide to breach the legal framework, it's somebody's job to implement the framework.
Yeah, so we have to be each other's keeper. There are some, and I'm not alienating the politicians from responsibility. Of course, they certainly have a role to play with being the head of the various planning committees who've been granting the permits and so on. They certainly have a role to play. But I'm saying that it's a collective effort. So while the politicians are playing their role, the citizenry must also be able to feel a part of the solution.
Right.
Because if the citizenry reneges on their responsibility or shared responsibility to make sure we are doing things right, keeping our environment clean, covering our topsoil in front of our houses and so on, and we are promoting greening and so on, we'll be able to curb some of these issues. So it's a shared responsibility, I believe.
I agree with that. Before I let you go, just let us know what you're coming on board with, why you think you should be the best bet for Greater Accra region. I know I've read a lot of what you have done in the past, but your office, the next office you want to occupy is also big. What are you coming on board with?
So it takes a good understanding of the operations of the party, which by God's grace I've learned over the years. With my experience of working at the National IT Office, the National Research and Elections Office, being involved with some national electoral operations, working as the Regional Research and Elections Officer for 2 terms, and working with 2 different regional secretaries and 2 different regional chairmen. I believe I've learned a lot and got some antidote to what can work going into 2024.
You do?
And one of my biggest trump cards I bring on board is an effective collaboration between the regional secretary and the regional chairman, without which the region will always suffer. And I believe the delegates, who are the constituency executives, are going to speak through to this particular strength that I bring on board. Besides that, a very good understanding of how the operations of the party works, with more to say, having a near perfect experience of how these various units under your ambit as regional secretary works, as the research and elections, communications and organization team as well. I've learned a lot about that, and I've shared a lot of good strategy and policy and ideas on my campaign trail to almost all the delegates I've met in the various constituencies. And they've bought into those ideas very, very well, and spurred me on to make sure that as good as it is, I should make sure I don't leave even a single out of that should I become the Greater Accra Regional Secretary.
You know Anyimedu?
Anyimedu? Okay, the name is very familiar.
Very familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't think you have such a close. He knows you very well because he does a lot of operations with the party.
Great.
And he's surprised of your knowledge on the floods. He says, honey, he's not regional secretary yet, but he's very intelligent on flood issues. So, yeah, so I think that he's impressed. But when you actually come into office, what, going around campaigning, what is your first, topmost important focus?
My focus is to win the 2024 elections in the region.
And winning,
for Greater
after
Accra.
winning, what do you think is the first thing you want to work on the party?
To make the party stronger to win the next election.
To make the party stronger to work in
Yes.
elections. What's your theme going into the campaign?
My theme.
What's your theme? I don't know your theme. You didn't tell me. Some of you have some themes,
Okay.
very interesting themes. I'm reading around.
Okay, so for me, it's not been much of a team, but when you speak to all the constituencies I've visited, they tell you this guy knows strategy. This
Okay.
guy knows how to be able to win an election. This guy is very election focused, he's very intelligent, and he is really positing ideas that we believe can work.
Okay.
So, I mean, sitting on the seat as a regional secretary, it takes a lot of tact, it takes a lot of strategy to really make things work.
So I think you know Robert Coleman.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh,
So he's watching. He says that he's wishing you well, and you can do the job. But of
Great.
course, you are a friend. I don't expect you to say otherwise. Anyway, so I think we'll end here. Do you have some last words for us before you leave?
it's my appeal to the regional delegates. They are the constituency executives of the Greater Accra region in the various constituencies. I'll be number 2 on the ballot. I'm the middleman.
But you're certainly not the second.
Certainly not the second. I'm just number 2 on
In
the
the outcome
ballot.
of the election.
You can say I'm the middleman who puts everything together.
Right.
And by God's grace, I'm seeking their mandate to be their next regional secretary. I'm assuring them of bringing every knowledge, every intelligence, every experience that I've gained over the years to bear. And I'm giving them one assurance. Everything I do or do not do, every collaboration with the chairman, every collaboration with the operations unit and getting them to be able to deliver on their mandate, supporting them in every single way, is going to be leading to us winning constituency seats and us winning the Greater Accra region as a whole. So they should consider me in all humility. I'm going to serve them in all humility.
I see. Someone says, Annie, Clote is solid. He will be a fine regional secretary for us from Amasaman constituency youth organizer. You know for us, right?
I do.
Okay,
I
okay.
do.
Hey, then today your support.
One of our solid troopers on the ground.
Yes, I think it's a very solid, considering the messages he sends sometimes.
Okay.
So I'm
Yes.
reading in between the lines. Anyway, for us, good evening to you. So I think we'll end it here. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Why did it take you seconds to respond?
I'm grateful for the well wish.
I'm grateful that you also came.
And I'm sure by the time the delegates decide and give me that honors to be their regional secretary, I'll probably come back again. So we can have further
I
discussions
cannot
on some
wait.
of the issues of interest.
Yes, I cannot wait to have you again as a regional secretary. All the best.
Thank you.
All right, you're also watching Good Evening Ghana. Let's go for a breather. When we come back, we'll give you a feel of what Greater Accra is going through as we part ways with the regional secretary hopeful. But we'll give you a feel of what we're going through as far as floods is concerned. And then we'll bring the women on board. Someone who also wants to cater for another section, faction, whatever, of the political, body. So we'll be back with some more interesting interviews.
Sometimes when you come when they don't listen, they will just insult you. They go to back. Sometimes when you get back, they don't listen. I'm not going to defend you. I can be
This dredging, cleaning up is going to take about 6 months to complete this one. Then the Kwale Lagoon itself will take a longer time because that's where we have more composition of material, which needs to take a longer time, maybe about a year or two to finish. We're going to have recreational facilities. That is the sea outfall. So along we have recreational facilities, other infrastructure. We can have some hotels. We come at the end, and this makes the whole place. Then we're dredging all the way through Cycle to Kwale Lagoon, where we call the Clep Interceptor. From there, we end up at the estuary into the sea. before the commencement of the work, this is how the situation was. The channels were heavily silted. Along the channel you can see very heavy siltation. So this is the beginning. Then during the process of the dredging, we had these situations. Gradually we came up to the end. Then finally, this is the stage that we have reached. And then after that, there was a continuation to carry out the silting, because as we progress, more silt come, and you have to continue dredging.
All right, so those are some excerpts of the floods. Because of time, we can't play a lot, but we'll leave it here. A message that I think I want to read this one. Emmanuel Clotte is a solid gentleman who is very analytical and results-oriented. I can guarantee you that he will serve Greater Accra well if he becomes the secretary. So I know he is winning this election come Saturday. Anyway, regards to Chairman Divine, you say, okay, this is coming from Nana Ikuamwa Boateng, Ablikuma Central. Okay. Now, I have, like I said, I have to give attention to the women, else the women will not even forgive me. So, you know, I have to give attention to them. Felicia Edem Atipo is also going for the regional women's organizer for the MPP. Every time I see women organizers, you know, people trying to come up, if you monitor me, I try to push them, you know, not because I'm a feminist, no. But I'm interested, very much interested. Anyway, congratulations for the attempt.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we want to see more of you. Maybe Clotte is still in the studio anyway, so let me watch what I say. Anyway, so you're welcome. Good evening to you. Let me just give a little bit of what Felicia has been able to do in Tema West. You know what I mean? Your constituency.
Really?
That makes me very biased towards you. Okay. So yes, let me play a bit of a video of her work in Tema West, and then what else? There's another video.
And what I would come.
What she wants to do.
You wrote me off, but God called me in. I may be down, so you say I'm a man. Meaning I'm Matinedi. Or come me with Miss Rodonka. Or Dimechi, I'm bound to win. Empty share, not share me view. Cause I'm a work in progress. Oh, yeah, me went to my home. Oh, I me went to my one, no parimu. Meaning I'm Matinedi. Maria, Baya, Cassava. And show me home, no, my won't fear. If I'm in principle and carry me, that's a matter say I get to
Right, so trust the woman to choose the correct songs to touch your heart. I'm telling you, if they don't choose the songs, they will just come and talk to you, and just the voice will touch you.
Yes.
Thank you for coming once again, and congratulations once again.
Thank
so
you.
Well done in Tema West. I didn't know we had anything like adult education in Tema West.
We have in Community 2 and Clagon.
Okay.
Mexico School, yeah.
And the women attend?
Yes.
Is it only for women?
No, everybody. And we even have a drama troupe.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do this for the women to get closer and learn more, and then get distressed. So you're tired, you just come to school, you come and learn, and then there's poem recitals. You see another woman like 60 years reciting a lion. A lion has a tail, and it's fun. But apart from that, what we do is, in a day, we pick a day and then we talk about the policies of the government, what the government is doing, being free SHS, being it planning for food and jobs, and one district factory, things that they will understand that the government is doing. And this is an avenue for them to also know. That's what I do for them, adult education.
I saw that you were in homes during the Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And you were giving them what?
Hampers.
What is that? Why? Why will you?
Appreciate mothers. I have an NGO called Let Single Parents Smile. I'm a single mom, and I know the plight they go through.
Oh, you're a single mom?
Yeah, I'm a single mom of 4.
Of 4?
Yeah.
Wait, did you divorce or your husband died? Which is which?
I'm divorced, but I have 2 biological and then 2 adopted. Yeah.
Wow.
Because my 2 are old. Now they're older.
And you decided to adopt extra
2 so that I want to still feel like a mom. Yeah, I mean you go home and your home is empty. You just go and lie in bed and play with your phone. But if you have kids, they come around mommy. I mean they tell you, and then you try to that motherly love. I got to a time I was missing it so much. I went for this lovely 2 kids, 10 and 6.
You were missing doing, hey, stop what you're doing.
Exactly.
Really?
Yes, I was. Because
I don't know if men go through that, but maybe it's not today.
And you come home, the house is so empty, there's nobody. And I want people around me.
Okay.
I really, really want people, especially kids.
Okay.
I always love to see kids. So when you come to my home now, even though I have 2 other kids down the whole area, everybody's in my house.
Let me pick your thoughts on a very sensitive issue now that has to do with women in the school feeding project situation. We know that government is, I don't know if I'm even right to say government is broke, but we know government is challenged financially. And we also know that the women must feed the children, but of course they cannot do it, what do you make of it?
It's rather unfortunate things are happening this way. But I quite remember when we came into power 2016, 2017, I did a paper to the First Lady.
Okay.
Some guidelines and how we could do the school feeding. I was saying that, you see, it's because the caterer is doing everything. The caterer is going to the market to buy the food, the foodstuffs, is coming to cook, he has to go to the schools to go and share. So everything is on the caterer. Okay, but let's say we have a policy where we have people, let's say there's somebody who has to bring in the gari, there's somebody who has to bring in the tomatoes, there's somebody who has to
more like division of labor.
Exactly. So, and there's somebody who has to cook, there's somebody who has to go and sell. So when I'm the caterer, this is the amount of money I want, and this amount of money I'll be paid. The one who is going to serve, this amount of money she's going to be paid. So that if at the end of the day,
so the work should be decentralized.
Exactly. At the end of the day, I don't need to be in the house and then the rice seller will come and knock on my door that
you owe.
I owe. The rice seller is going to deal with the government, not me. So, but everything is on the caterer. So there's so much burden on them, and they went to credit all these items. So when they are not being paid, they can't sleep. I know some have even died. The embarrassment and all that. So I think that government will also look at it.
So in your opinion, if the woman is cooking, focus on the food.
Focus on the food.
Then,
and this will give a lot of jobs to other women too as well. Yeah. Because if you are being given the supply of tomatoes, and the other one is also giving the supply of beans. So it's like, even if you're a polling station person, you have business to do. The one supplying the rice has business to do. But if the caterer alone is going to look for the rice, the pepper, everything.
And this your paper you wrote to the First Lady, did it involve the buffer stock?
Yes, I think
company in
yes.
the chain of
yes, I
decentralization?
did a very comprehensive let's say a report where I thought it could have been a proposal.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it could have been looked at, and I believe it. If it did, a lot of things will I mean, everything will be saying yes. I know we are broke or there is no money, so everybody will understand. But the burden on the women is too much. This is way too much, because now they have to cook even though they've not been paid. So it means that they still have to go and credit from where? Okay, but if then the one who is supplying the beans knows that, okay, the government owes me, but then I can go further because at the end of the day I'm being paid, and the caterer will be comfortable at least to a point. So I think that that proposal should be looked at to ease it. Apart from that, I plead that, I mean, they should be paid so that, I mean, they get started again. I know they started cooking, but I'm sure pretty soon they will be paid.
We'll pray for that.
Pretty soon. Yeah,
someone actually thinks, he says that, Annie, posing the school feeding program to the woman is like you're putting her on the spot. It's not. And even if I'm putting her on the spot, maybe it's good. And you know, I didn't even know that you've done a paper to the First Lady.
Yes, I've done a proposal.
So it's just a coincidence that you're telling me this now. I didn't know, but if she is vying for a women's organizer, it's the best thing you can do. Then you just need to get a critical thinking ability of her, so that she can tell you what she can do for the women, because her core mandate will be focusing on women. So the work on the women is on her, and it's Greater Accra. It's a big deal.
A very big deal.
So yeah, I'm not putting on the spot. I just want to see that. So what's the current challenge? I mean, I posed the school feeding thing. That's a national situation. But what's the current challenge of women in Ghana in general? That maybe I'll pose my Agama Lizard question again. That your position as Greater Accra Women's Organizer can translate to affect the national level.
Okay, so as Regional Women Organizer, you need to blend with the policy of the government. You can see my vegetable farm was, I linked it with the planting for food and job policy. Just to let people know that even the government is doing this. This is my small way to let people know that, and we could be farmers and then we could eat what we grow. So this will affect the lives of the women, especially and then the grassroots and the youth in politics. So we work hand in hand, as my brother said, we work hand in hand, and we bring people to power, and then they make the government. And I believe that, as for me, as I was going along as women organizer, I always saw my visions as being hand in hand with government, and I believe that this will help the women a lot, because you see, out of free adult education, I linked it up with free SHS. Okay, your child is going to school free, you can also go and learn free. Okay, and it will interest you to know that I had two women who attempted to write BEC. The first one went to write 3 papers, and he said it's okay, it's enough, I can't go write.
What was the age?
I think 48 or so. The second one was 52, and then she said menopause. She went, the classroom was so, the hall was so hot, so I mean she cannot.
So just having jitters.
Exactly, but I was that confidence is there. Now they go out and they understand what is happening. They go to the bank and then they can write 1,050 in words. Okay, when they are talking about something, she understands. So it's like building themselves in confidence in society. And when I was a woman organizer, I had 3 or 4 things I wanted to do: empower the women economically, socially, and then financially. The socially was what I did. The adult education, building their confidence in society.
At a constituency level.
Yes. I mean, when you build a woman's confidence, that is about 50 or 55% of your problem solved. And then building their confidence, empower them economically. That is where I set them up in business, you know, and then that is financial. I set them up in business, and economically we train them how to maintain their business, how to save.
Have you followed up to check the sustenance of
Oh
the
yes,
setup?
yes. You see a woman, excuse me, say disabled with the Indomie. She's doing so well. She's in Bachuna.
Okay.
She's doing so well. She has, you know, set her own up.
Which side of Bachuna?
Bachuna around Total, but going down. No Total, but yeah, Bachuna Total. Yes.
Is it going to the EcoBank area?
No, the other side.
The other side.
The
So
other side.
Heading towards 18 Junction.
18 Junction, exactly.
Okay.
One of the squatters around. So you
I
see.
want to follow up myself and see if
Yes,
you're telling the truth.
I can give you the contact of the coordinator there.
Great.
He's Mr. Atufebin. Okay. I can give you. He'll take you to the woman. So you see, you do this, and then the women are very comfortable, and they are okay in the society. And I believe that this is one of the things, and that is one of the ideologies of the NPP. They say freedom and development.
When I played a video of what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I saw first lady, second lady.
Yeah.
I know that. Is it that you're planning to make women first ladies and second?
No, it was among the WEH, which is Women Empowerment Hub. And you see the Women Empowerment Hub in NPP, especially in Greater Accra. I realized that we have just about one woman who speaks for the party, that communicates for the party. There's Madam Salah of Amasaman, former woman organizer. And I think she's the only one who actually communicates. But we need a lot of women to communicate for the party. We need to train them as well. And I was saying that we need the women in the party like Madam Eslausu,
Okay.
like Madam Natoshi, Irina Toshiado, like Ayoko Botre. We need all of them on board, and even the First Lady, where we could all sit on a round table and they share their experience in politics. And I believe they just didn't get up and become what they are now. They had to go through the mill. What are they going through? They have to mentor us. And not forgetting our women who actually serve the party, like Madame Rosemont Kwam, like Madame Joyce Zimpari, Vida Olusu, and then Vida Dubates, and Madame Ama Buzia. They are all there. And I think that as regional women organizers, these are the women we need to tap from them and then mentor us and then grow the party from there.
Ampari is a wonderful.
I tell you, I mean, yeah, she's very, very powerful. And these are the women we still have to hold their clothes and then help us in the party so that we build a formidable women's wing. And you know, if a party will have to win power, it's a woman. Look, take a woman, just make a small church here, and just get one woman. Give 3 months, the whole church is full. It's just one woman.
Why are the women always allowing themselves the churches to be using them?
Yeah, you see, but we don't use them for the other thing because she can influence. That's the traditional media we always forget about. We have to use the traditional media.
Yeah, but churches cannot always be your...
No, I'm trying to say that this is the power of a woman.
Okay, you're trying to say that
Yes.
even churches...
Even churches.
Okay.
So it means that if a woman wants to convince you, I mean, she can easily do that. So why don't we use that power in women to get the party, to get women to the party, to get it so attractive? Because
So what's the current regional organizer of the party failing at?
and make it, that is the, come again.
The current
Yeah.
regional women's organizer.
Yeah.
What's she failing at?
And making the wing a formidable wing, and then, you know, putting the structures in place. You see, politics, structures, I've showed some, getting the NPP very attractive in the region. It's not attractive anymore. I wonder if we even have a wing. Okay.
You mean a women's wing?
The women's wing. We don't.
Oh.
It's broken down. Honestly, it's broken down, and it showed in our elections. Yes, because
The
it's the 2020, because it's the women that, you know, makes could be the forefront, and then we win power. But we didn't have it. Okay, and there was there was no unity at the base. So it's like, I can work with this person, I can't work with this person. This person is not my friend, I can only do this with this person. So that selective and divide and rule was too much in the region. Because if I can do something like this, I mean, let's all come together and do it, everybody.
So the problem of I can't work with that, I can't work with that, I can't work with that.
Yeah.
So does it justify the fact that we say, oh, women are their own enemies? Because I don't go by that school of thought.
I
because
also
men
don't
are
go.
also
Yes,
their
I
own
also
enemies,
don't go by it, but it's debatable. Because you see, in politics in Ghana, both sides, the moment they see a woman who we think that, oh, we could help that woman up, then everybody don't want anybody to come to their space.
Okay, we're protective.
Everybody is very protective of that space. No, if I let her in, she's going to make sure that come for my position. So I need to protect it. But I think that things are changing, and from the elections, from the polling station to the constituency, it's coming to the region, a lot of things are changing. Now politics is, the dynamics in politics is also changing. Now everybody wants somebody who could work. What are you bringing on board? Okay, so it's like, have you worked? Yes, if you've worked, okay, I'll vote for you. If you don't work, look, go back and let somebody come and do the work. So you could see that things are changing now. And that's where I agree with you that I don't go by that ideology that women are our own enemies. Because gradually, you see somebody, he thinks, look, let me nurture this lady because I can see potentials in her. Exactly. So those, let me cover my space sort of thing is getting out of the system. Yeah.
We're getting very glued to the idea that women, when you put them in a good organization, they can really give you good results. When you go to other regions, let's say for example the North, you have women in gari production, you have women in shea butter production, and it's because it's in the North. So your location determines what is key that we can, maybe the profession we can throw at the women and give for them to give us results. In Greater Accra, what is it that, I know in Tema West you've done something, okay, you've tried setting up, somebody's doing Indomie, someone small business here and there, people are in school and all that. But what's the key? Because I really cannot pinpoint. Greater Accra, we are like elites, so we are not really the skills trained type of people. Maybe, yeah. But what in Greater Accra can we identify as we can actually put women to skills? We can put women to and let them give us good productivity.
You see, we do a lot of skills in Greater Accra, but I think that we should also focus on the branding as well. The branding. You can see that now the youth are coming out to so many ideas, and it's more of the branding. You can see, and then the exit point. Okay, so you give a lady a skills to say, learn how to do liquid soap or a cake of soap. Now you set the person up, and then the person, in the near future, you don't see the person again because we didn't give that person the exit point. So for me, I always say, when I don't have the exit point, I don't go into skills.
Yeah. It's very important.
It's very important because now we are teaching them how to do the soap bolo and all that. But when I teach you how to do liquid soap, a bottle will be 2 cedis. You go to China Mall and a bottle is 1 cedi, 50 pesos. It was surprising that somebody would take transport from, let's say, Circle to Ashiaman, China Mall, to go and buy that.
They're cheaper.
Yes. Once, but you should have been factored the transport. Okay, so I always say that, okay, you give that person the skill training and then go the extra mile to say the hospitals and tell them that, okay, and please, I've trained some women, they can do liquid soap or Parazone, so why can't they probably supply you maybe 10 drams or 2 drams to also help them? Okay, so that is the exit point that I'm talking about, so that you give them that leeway, and then they also get, try and then
that's by way of creating an enabling business environment.
Exactly.
But you see, that's what makes you have an advantage because you are in the political realm, and so you are closer to power and you can influence policy formulation, you know. So it puts you in a position where you are forced to create. You have been writing proposals, so it puts you in a good position to propose. That listen, you have to stop importing these ones because this is what we're trying to help to do to help the society. If they are getting that result from the government in power by creating that enabling environment, then the votes that Clote is talking about, you get it.
Yeah, and to add to it, you see, when you start doing that, then the idea of, then I have to rebrand, and then branding and packaging comes into the mind of the lady who is supplying them, because now I can do, let's say, 2 drums. Now probably let me do 3 drums and then supply a hospital with the 2 drums, but try and package this well, brand this well, and then see if I can sell it to the market. So then, apart from we giving them that skills, I believe we should also start adding the branding and the packaging. That is where the youth come in. Okay, the university students and all that, I believe they learn about all this. Now we have Agbilikaklo that we are branding. We have even Jollof that, you know, you go on the supermarket and you see all of that. And these are things that when we do, I believe that the young ladies will not be running for white collar jobs. Because
I will not be slave queens.
I will not be slave queens.
Like today, the attacks I've received on social media.
You see, because I have some ladies in my constituency, and I'm always happy. And when I see them, I'm so proud. The lady is called Mariama, and she has a small restaurant, and then they sell wherever you are. They bring it to you, and they're packaging. Okay.
So that's the business mind of Felicia Edematipo, of how you want to turn around the skilled Ghanaian skilled woman. Anyway, so into politics, we have a few minutes to go, but we're going on to the post on Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you trust your delegates?
Yes, I trust them so well, because I went to the constituencies, all the 34 constituencies, and then I'm doing my mop-up, and I did a presentation for them, and I told them what I have done, and what when I come I will do my COBENT, my WEH, and then the PSF, and I explain it to them, and looking at them, they see that it's very laudable, because moving forward and then breaking that 8 is not now the chobwe wearing t-shirt and shouting. No, it's about making sure that a woman is comfortable, making sure that a woman will hit the chest and say, look, I will vote for NPP because I did not be NPP, and probably I could not set up this small business. Right. So that is what everyone is.
Do you appreciate the fact that women in the NPP are complaining a lot, because there seems to be, maybe borrow the phrase day and night of women organizers. When I saw there was this picture in your video, I was a little encouraged. I'm like, okay, we know where she wants to go, or she wants to take the women now. So you know there's a lot of work to do when it comes to reviving women within the NPP.
Yes, there is a lot, because our recent elections that we went, we had 34 constituencies. I think about only 9 women retained their seats, which means that something went wrong. Okay, and these women are not lazy women. They are hardworking with good visions. When you talk to them, they have brilliant ideas, good vision they could help the party with. But the resources and the good leadership was not there. Okay, so if you are able to empower them, and they will do marvelously well. And this is what we are lacking in Greater Accra. And trust you, when I come, all this will be worked out, and then we will revamp the women's wing in Greater Accra.
Comment on flooding. Should the fact that the woman you set up, in Tema West doing the noodles got affected by the floods, what do you think will happen?
She's lost everything. And you see, as constituency woman organizer, anytime I visit my women, and I go and I see, I say, hey, here I will show about how, you draw their attention to it. Some of them are squatters, and then they have a small kiosk somewhere on a drainage. I always draw their attention to it and tell them, look, this place is not right. It will worry you. So she has something in mind, and we keep hammering it. You see, it's all about information and then talking to them, let them know their environment, clean their environment. You don't throw rubbish out. This is all we do for the women, and it's more of communication and then setting their mind. And you know, one thing I did and it helped was I used the 3 E's: education, exposure, and experience.
Education, exposure, and experience.
You educate them, you give them the experience, and then you expose them. And this is something I would when I come out do. I mean, what stops you from traveling with let's say Madam Esla is going to the UK or the US and she's traveling with a polling station executive. She goes and she comes and look, hey, approach your flow. We can do Ghana better. So if you're able to expose your women and they come back, their life changes. I remember a woman said that my husband traveled with me, and then when we all traveled together, and the moment the woman came, her life changed because they went out and she realized that, look, apparently when I'm serving my husband, I have to at least put a napkin beside her. She didn't know, she just go and put the cup there, no. But when she traveled, she realized that, look, it's not like that. So the exposure is very, very important. And that is what I'm going to give my women in Greater.
Great. I wish you all the best. Let me capture a few. This one it actually came, I'm picking a little late. It says Emmanuel Clottey has requisite experience and still could properly manage the region and help regain all lost seats. I wish Felicia all the best as well, and I hope that she gets what she's looking for. Just work for the party when you get you get the office. Regards to Chairman Sivan Otu, I go home. Okay, this one also. So Obama says, interesting show tonight. Good evening, Ghana. Hansard captured in the following individual will remain or emerge victorious in the Greater Accra regional elections come Saturday. Divine Otu go home, Chairman. Emmanuel Clottey, Secretary. Prince Obeng, Organizer. Moses Abo, Youth Organizer. Assistant Secretary, Papa. Jeff Kasim, Nasara Coordinator. Women's Organizer. He says, all I want is incumbent out. I was waiting for you to get to the women's organizer to see what you write. So he says, all I want is incumbent out. So first, Vice Chairman, Joanna Ada, and then second Vice Chairman, Chair, he says, close to call. Obama, thank you for the message. We have the former Minister of Health watching. He says, a very good show, a good takeover from Paul, you say. Well, I'm not taking over. I'm only sitting in for him, but you didn't add your name. Just a quick one. Okay, let me give you, Michael, do you have some messages for me before I wrap up? I have 2 minutes more. Okay, please, give me the messages and then we wrap up.
Great.
Okay, do you have some now?
Yeah, we've got
okay,
some
can go.
right there. Okay, so this was on the, do you want me to skip the Achimota issues and speak on?
Yes, please.
Great, so give me a second.
Okay, as I'm waiting for you, a happy birthday to my most adorable wife, Ekia Yeboa Efihene Ejubi Kete. Nana Bedia Kohaji. So it says that from your husband, Nana Bedia Ko dance up here. I love you to the moon and back. So Mrs. Bedia Ko dance up here. Happy birthday to you. That Michael.
Ready? Yes. Right. So Honorable Bunti Pokwasi says, such a gentleman, Emmanuel Clottey, no size. Now, Ibra Ablekuma says, good evening, Annie. Odar Lai Parker has done marvelously well as the regional chief scribe, and delegates will reward him come Saturday. Okay. Now, Josh Nikoy Listowo says, humble, experienced, dedicated with great credentials. You will win, and I know Opana is watching with different Facebook accounts. He is bleeding. Emmanuel Clottey, Greater Accra Messiah. All
right. My time is up. Let me just end it here. I hosted Emmanuel Clottey earlier on, and Felicia Dematipo also going for the women's Greater Accra Regional Women's Organizer for the MPP. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And I hope that I will see you again as the women's organizer. Yes. We're going just Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm pleading that I'm on number 3 on the ballot paper.
Number 3.
So Felicia Dematipo. I'm pleading with them. I've been to them and they know I can do the job. So number 3 on Saturday, they should vote for me.
At least I come from Tema West. Vote for us. Thank you. All right, so that's all we have for you this evening on Good Evening Ghana. My name is Annie Fampofa, sitting for Paul Adomotri.